everyone, welcome back to WsCube Tech. So guys, in our previous few sessions, we have learned about loops, that what are loops and what different kinds of loop we have. That means we have for loop, while loop, nested loop and while true as well, which is an infinite loop. Today we'll be talking about problem solving. We have done two problem solvings before already with the loops. Now today what we'll be doing, we'll be solving problems related to the nested loops. Yes, with the help of nested loop, we can solve pattern problems. Today we'll be doing the same, that today we'll be solving some pattern problems over here with the help of nested loops.
Before that, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn from our experts live, then you can call on the given number or you can fill the form that is provided in our description. Not just that, with our every batch, you will be getting 2 demo classes for free.
Many kinds of problems can be solved with the help of nested loops. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So here I have a question. I have first pattern over here which looks like a triangle. First of all, to understand this pattern problem, what we need to do, we need to understand this box over here. Okay. So I'll be just explaining you one simple method, and after that you will be able to solve each and other problem related to the patterns that comes in our nested loops over here. Now understand this in this way, that there is a triangle over here, right, which has 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. That means with the number of rows, the columns are also increasing. To understand this problem, first let's understand this block over here. How many rows do we need? We need 5 rows. In every row there is 1 over here, right? 1, 1, 1, 1 and 1. 5 rows are there and 5 columns are there. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 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 Okay, so we have a block pattern over here. Now what do we need to do? We need to first create this pattern, and after creating this pattern, what we will be doing? We will be cutting it diagonally in this way so that we can obtain this triangle over here. So first of all, let's get this pattern over here. To get this pattern, what we know, we need 5 rows. That means one for loop for range 1, 6 and another for loop for range 1, 6. That will be our columns. Okay. So first for loop, we will be talking about the first for loop. First for loop would be for I in range. This will count our what? This will be counting our rows over here. So this one is for the rows. And another inside this, we will be creating another for loop, that for j in range 1, 6. Okay, let's imply this in our pie chart and see what output we will be getting. So here what I will be writing, I will be writing for I in range 1, 6 colon for j in range 1, 6. I'll put a colon again, and what we'll be doing, we'll be writing print. What we will be printing, we will not be printing the number of rows over here. We will be printing the number of columns over here. So columns are j, comma, end is equals to open close quotations. I'll just explain you. First of all, I'll put these quotations in the next time I won't put it. So let me just run and show it to you, that if I run this thing, what output I'll be getting. So if I run this, I'll be getting a box like this over here. If I would have not put end is equals to open close quotations, that means in that case what would have happened? It would have given me in this way, that there would have been 5 numbers which are occurring 5 times over here. So instead, if we want them in one line, then we will be having to put end is equals to open close quotations. And if you want to put a gap in between them, you can put a gap. And if you don't want to put a gap, so if I remove the gap, this would look like this. That means it will be closely packed. But if I put a gap in between them, that means I put a space in between there, then they will be placed in such way. Right, now what we need to do over here is we need a triangle from this formation. Let's have a look what we can do for the triangle. So for the triangle, you can clearly see that every time what is happening, every time one column is increasing. That means row 1, then column also 1, right? If row number is 2, then columns are also 2. If row number is 3, then columns are also 3. This is happening, right? Previously, what was happening? Row 1, columns were 5 in this case. But in our case, in the triangle case, what is happening? Row is 1, then column is also 1. Row is 2, then the column is also 2. So what we will be doing in this case for the j, that means that the number of rows for the triangle will remain the same, that 5 rows are there, right? But for the j, that means for the columns, what will happen? I'll just put a comment and write row over here. And for here, I'll be putting a comment and I'll be writing column. That every time a column will increase. Now how the column will increase? It will increase with the I. So what I'll be writing? I plus 1. So initially it will be 1. So I, and it will go up to 2. That means so it will be writing only 1 star. then I, and it goes up to 3. So understand it in this way, that we have inside our I, we have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, right? For j, what we have written, for j we have written 1 comma I plus 1. That means when the iteration will happen, it will start from 1. That means one number will get printed, and I plus 1 is 2. So when they're inside a loop, second number never gets counted over here. So that means it will execute from 1 comma 2. This is how the loop will be executed. Then next time it will be executed as 1 comma 3. That means it will go 1 and 2. Then in case of 1 comma 4, it will go 1, 2 and 3. In case of 1 comma 5, it will go 1, 2, 3 and 4, and so on as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So let's put this concept over there in our PyCharm and let's see what happens. If I go to PyCharm, and in here I have written 1 comma I plus 1, and if I run this, what outcome we will be getting? We will be getting the exact same pattern that we had over there. This is here we have 1, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have seen nested loop pattern problems, then you might have also seen some star patterns over here. Similarly, one star pattern is also created. For creating that similar star over here, what you need to do, replace this j with a star over here and close the quotations, and if you run it, instead of the numbers over there, that means 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So j is holding what? J is holding our numbers that we need to get printed over there, right? So if we hold this over here, if we put stars instead of j, in that case we will be obtaining our star pattern over here. Similarly, let's move ahead to our next question. So now if the concept of that block is clear over here, I guess you will be able to solve all the kinds of pattern problems with the help of just small amount of logic that you need to put in there. So our next question over here is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4 and 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So previously what was the triangle? We had 1, 1, 2, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We don't need to increase the numbers with the help of the columns. Now every time the number of row will be there, the number of column will be there. That means if the row number is 1, this is row number 1, then the number inside it is also 1. If the row is 2, then the number inside is also 2. If the number is 3, then the numbers inside it are also 3. If the number is 4, then the numbers inside it are also 4. And similarly for the 5. So what we need to do, we need to just put a simple logic over here. That over here, what we were doing, we were printing j, right? That j was carrying 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what is carrying rows over here? Our I is carrying the rows over here. So that means the numbers that are there in our rows. So instead of writing j, if I put I over here, we will get the exact same pattern which was there in our question. And you can see over here we have obtained, if the row is 1, then the number is 1. If the row is 2, then both the numbers are 2. If the row is 3, then all the numbers are 3 over here. How we can get it? With the help of I, because I is counting what? I is counting our numbers over here. That number of rows over here. So only simple one change we need to make, and you can now see that with just 3 changes we have created 3 different patterns. One with the star, one with increasing the number of columns, and one with the I, that means with the number of rows over here. Let's move ahead to our next question. Our next question over here says write a program to display this pattern. So previously our triangle looked like this. Now what we need our triangle to look like this. And every time what is happening, so previously our columns were increasing. This time what will happen? Our columns are decreasing. That every time one column will be reduced. So starting value would be what? Starting value would be 6. It will go up to the I and minus 1. So it would be like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, because the row is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rows will remain the same because the row is 1. So 1 would not come over here. In next case it would be 6, 5, 4 and 3, because it won't go up to 2. Then 6, 5, 4 in this case, 6, 5 in this case, and just 6 in this case. But we don't need to obtain these numbers. These are just to make you understand what we need to obtain. We need to obtain 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That is the number of rows, and a row over here. In this case here this. In this case we have this. In this case we have this. And in this case we have this number. So we need to work on the rows and columns both as well. So for the rows, in the first case over here, what will happen? The rows will remain the same. So for the rows, if we are talking about just rows, what will happen? The number of rows will remain the same. That means we will not do any changes with the I. That means over here, if I talk about the same program, the I will remain the same. That means the number of rows are same, right? But for the J, what is happening? The J is starting from 6. That means in the first line, it's starting from 6, it's going up to I, and then the decrement is of -1, that every time one column is getting reduced over here, and we don't have to print j, we have to print I. So let's run and see. So you can now see the pattern that we wanted over here. We have received it just by doing a simple changes over here with our columns. What changes we have made? We have written for j in range, starting value is 6, that means now it has been reversed. It's going up to I, that means firstly it will go from 6 to 1, then 6 to 2, then 6 to 3, 6 to 4, and from 6 to 5, and lastly there will be just 6, and every time it will be reduced by -1 over here. And what we need to print, if we print j over here, we will get the pattern that I am saying, that is 6, that is 6 5 4 3 2, 6 5 4 3, 6 5 4 6 5, and lastly 5. When we are obtaining this, we are obtaining this when we print j, but we don't have to print j over here, we have to print I. So we'll be getting this pattern over here, and for the same, if you want a star pattern, then you just need to put a star over here, and if you run it, you will be getting this star pattern as well in the similar triangle pattern. So this is what this program is about. Now let's move ahead to our next pattern problem. So now what we have done, we have created a triangle like this. Also we have created a triangle like this, but now this triangle is like this. Right, that means in the previous two triangle it was starting from the corner of the line, right? But now what is happening, that it is starting from the other side. Now what we need to do, we need to focus in this box again, that okay, this is our triangle, but what are these things? These are the spaces. Let me put some symbols over here. So there will be some symbols over here, which are representing the number of spaces in front of it. That means 1 2 3 4 that means 1 star will be there, 2 star in the second row, 3 stars in the third row, 4 stars in the fourth row, and 5 stars in the fifth row. Again, the number of rows are same, that means there are 5 rows, so we will not do any changes with the I, but with the j we will be making changes. What two changes we will be making? We'll be making changes with the spaces and changes with the stars. That means 2 more loops will be working over here. One outer loop for the I for counting the rows, and 2 rows for counting the columns will be working over here. That means one will count the number of spaces, the other one will print the stars over here. Okay, so we need to work on 2 rows over here. First of all, talking about the spaces over here, what I will be putting in the first one, we will be going in this way, that we have starting value 5, that we need 5 spaces, then and goes up to I, and every time it will be reduced by 1, right? This will be our spaces. In this case we will be printing what? We will be printing spaces in this case. Okay, and in the second case would be about our stars. So starting value would be what? It will be starting from the I only, that means our rows only, that how many number of rows are there. So if I say 0 to 6, then it would be it will do the same thing, or instead of this I can put I also over here. So let's work on this pattern over here. So for this pattern, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing for I in range. That means our range is 1, 6. I'll put a colon. For j in range, our next range is what? It is for counting the spaces. I'll be putting 5, comma, goes up to I, and -1. I'll put a colon over here and print what? I'll be printing the spaces in between, and comma, end is equals to open close quotations. Now again another for loop, that for k in range, I'll be writing just I over here. That means I just want the number of rows over here. How many number of rows are there? So I'll be putting this, and I'll print what? I'll be printing this star over here. So star pattern would come, and I'll be writing end is equals to open close quotations, and lastly print statement. So if I run this program over here, let's see what output we will get. You can now see that we have obtained an output the output that we wanted there previously. That means starting we have 5 4 3 2 4 spaces, 5 4 3 3 spaces, 5 4 2 spaces, and 5. That means only 1 space is over here, right? And the next loop is making the star pattern over here for us, by just writing what? For k in range I, print star, and end is equals to open close quotations. So this is how we have obtained our pattern. Now guys, if you want to see a small magic, that what I'll do in this print open close spaces, if I remove this space over here, if I just don't print this space, and if I just run it like this, you will now see that we have obtained a pyramid like structure. So just by one program and making a simple one change, you can obtain 2 kinds of patterns over here. Over here, what is happening, that now the spaces are over here in this side, and it has been reduced. Now let's move ahead to our next pattern problem. So our next pattern problem over here says the same kind of triangle that we have been making, but this time what is happening, the numbers are changing over here. Number are previously we were writing 1 1 2 1 2 and 3, 1 2 3 and 4 in this way, but now what we want, that if the row is 1 it will be 1, if the row is 2 it will start from 2 and 1, if the row is 3 it will start from 3 2 and 1, if the row is 4 it will start from 4 3 2 and 1. So this is how it is decreasing. So simple method over here as well, that what we will be doing, that from the I we will be going up to 0 and the decrement will be of -1 over here. So now if I run this program and print j over here, and then if I run it, so you will now see that what pattern we have obtained. We have obtained 1 2 1 3 2 1 4 3 2 1 and 5 4 3 2 1. What we need to do, just the number of rows that we are using, that would be the starting value. It will go up to the 0 and the decrement will be of -1. So by putting one simple logic in the column, we have obtained this another pattern over here. Moving ahead to our next pattern. Okay, our next pattern over here looks like this. First of all, to obtain this pattern, we need to make a triangle like this, which we already know how to make it. And then what we need to do, we need to make another triangle that goes like this, right? But with not the similar number of rows. This time what will happen, this triangle is in this pattern, that here it is coming and the next triangle is coming in this way, right? That means they have one common row in between, right? So what we'll be doing, we will be first focusing on this triangle. So let's first create this triangle. So for that triangle, what do we need over here? We have created that kind of pattern before also in our first pattern problem. That was our 1 comma I plus 1, right? Now if I run it, I'll get my first triangle over here. And if I print instead of j, I'll put a star over here. So my first triangle would be obtained. That first part of the triangle is done. Now what I need to do, I need to go reverse. That means another loop will be working over here. So for I in range, again talking about the number of rows over here. So how many rows will be there? The number of rows will be reduced by 1 over here. So number of rows will be 1 to 5. Okay. And inside this we'll be writing for k in range. Now how it is going, 5 4 3 2 1. So 5 would be the starting value. Every time I will be reduced and by -1 it will be going. That means every time the column will be reduced, right? That firstly it will be 5. That means 5 4 3 2. Then 5 4 3, 5 4 and lastly 5. This is how it will be going. And if we'll be printing what, again the stars over here, I'll put a comma and write end is equals to open close quotations and print statement. So if I run it, you can now see that we are getting the pattern. If here over here also I would have used similar number of rows, like if I would have written 6 over here, here also I would have written 6, it would have given me a pattern like this, that it would have created another triangle. That means one triangle, this one, another triangle, this one, but we want one row in common. So what we need to do over here, we need to reduce one row. That's why we'll be writing 5 over here. And just like how we have done the decrementation previously before, just similarly we will be doing the decrementation over here, and we'll be decreasing the number of columns over here. So this is how our pattern will be obtained. Moving ahead to our last pattern over here. So our last pattern over here is a multiplication kind of a table that goes 1 to 8 numbers, and with the number of rows, the columns are over there. That means if the row is 1, then the multiplication is up to 2 and 4. That means if the row is 1, then only one element is there. If the row is 2, then the multiples of 2 are there up to 2 numbers only. If the row is 3, then the multiples of 3 are there up to row 3 only. So for understanding this also, what we will be doing, first we will be obtaining a whole multiplication table from 1 to 8 and on both the sides. That means again what we will be doing, again we will be creating that block over here, and after that we will be cutting this triangle over here. Okay, so first of all let's obtain that block over here. Now to obtain this block, what I'll be doing, I'll be writing for I in range 1 comma 10, or we can say 1 comma 11. I'll put a colon and I'll write for j in range 1 comma 11. I'll put another colon. That means both the sides it will be going up to 10 over here. That means 10 rows and 10 columns. So I'll be reprinting what? I'll be printing the, you can see over here the multiplication of rows is happening with the columns. So I multiply by j, we will be writing comma, end is equals to open close quotations, and lastly we will just leave one print statement over there. So if I run it, I'll get a box over here of all the numbers 1 to 10, 1 and 2 to up to 20, 3 to up to 34 to up to 40. Now what I need to obtain? I need to obtain a triangle over here. To obtain the triangle, we know that there is one simple trick, that every time to the column, one row will be added. So I plus 1. And now let's run and see what output we will get. So now here we can see that the kind of pattern that we wanted initially, we have obtained that pattern. Our pattern was up to 8 numbers. Here if you want up to 8 numbers, then all you need to do is write 8 over here, or write 9 over here basically. And if you run it, you'll get it up to 9 numbers. That means up to 8 numbers over here. And if you wanted up to 10 numbers, then you just have to write 11 over there, and simply you'll get a multiplication table pattern problem over here. Right? So guys, these were some small pattern problems over here. I hope you guys have no doubts and no questions. To understand the pattern problem, one simple logic is there. You need to first understand that block. With the help of that block, you can understand every kind of pattern problem. You just have to put some logic and you'll be obtaining that. So in our next session, we will be starting with a completely new topic. So stay connected guys, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.